Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me. Once again, I am back with another video, and this is going to be a live video because just because I missed you guys and I was away sick for the entire week. I wasn't able to do a podcast due to viral infection and all that kind of stuff. But I'm back now, and I figured, hey, what better time to go ahead and do a video and start, just talking about some stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about this past week, but didn't really have a chance to. Simply put, because I was sick. And I wanted to go ahead and sort of rectify that situation. I like interacting with you guys. I was doing these kind of regular, maybe once a week. Maybe I'll be able to start that back up again, but I will be podcasting a lot this week. I actually, for the first time in a long time that I can remember, I actually missed Xbox Nation, MNC, and also Crossfire. So I don't know that that's happened since the hurricane situation, but yeah. Still, I'm here and doing a good video. If you guys wouldn't mind liking it and sharing it out, I would appreciate that as well. Let some people kind of trickle in and things like that. Again, I think a lot of people, when it comes to these type of things, and I'll get into the topics. I have some topics I'm going to hit on, including the sale stuff and this $500 million Halo stuff as well. So if you guys would be so kind as to share it out on social media and like it and stuff like that, I would appreciate it. But yeah, a lot of people have, I think, come to expect like YouTubers, and it was a totally different story when I first started doing this. Like, I was a big pro Xbox guy, and I'm still, I like Xbox. It's even next generation, right? A lot of people see I'm hyping up the PS5. I'm very excited for the PS5. I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 4 exclusives. I just think content is just so important, and I do think that Microsoft is going to have some nice content going forward. I just think that with the addition of PlayStation VR, it's going to make a PlayStation 5 a must-own thing for me, as in addition to the Xbox Anaconda or whatever the most powerful one is. And if the Anaconda is the most powerful system, I'll probably play all my multiplats there, or the majority of them, simply put, because they're going to play and look best there. Plus, I have like a ton of gamer score on my Xbox account, Xbox Live. I love the controllers. I'm still going to be able to use my Elite controllers, all that kind of stuff. But the PS5 is very intriguing for me because I have to admit, like, there was some anger and bias by me originally when this generation started, because there was so much hate for Xbox, and it felt almost like a personal attack. And I was personally attacked a lot of the time for my opinion when it came to Xbox. So, people can see why I was a little bit upset and why things were sort of escalated the way that they did in terms of how I did my videos. And, I kind of turned the tables, flipped the script a little bit, because what I would do is I would focus on the positive Xbox stuff and accentuate the Sony negative stuff to try to even things out, because there was such a discrepancy in the way that everybody treated Xbox and PlayStation. And I was one of a few, like, you guys know the others. There was very few of us out there doing it. Now everybody does it. But now it's like, if you don't sit there and praise every single thing that Xbox does, or even if you're a PlayStation guy, if you don't praise everything the PlayStation does or everything Nintendo does, then you're a fraud, or you can't be a true fan or anything like that. And I just don't really buy into that. I think that's been nonsense since day one. You should be able to complain about things. We're the ones that are supposed to be catered to as consumers. So I think that it's very important to, kind of point that out. And, and I just want to say that I'm not upset that people, unsub or whatever, or if they hate me or whatever. It's my opinion, and I'm at least trying to keep it real as you possibly can. Like the original Crapgamer persona, where he was all kind of in your face and stuff like that. Probably not. Probably not the. It was like a fun escape, like video games, and now that I've been doing this for so long, it's like you don't want to keep doing that. Just like the angry video game nerd, he does his own stuff now as himself, and I think he probably enjoys that quite a bit. But for me personally, it's like I'm able to go back now and play some of these PlayStation exclusives. And guess what? I'm going to start up The Last of Us and see if it was a me thing or if it's a really great game, because I have tried to play that game on the PS3. And I got pretty far. I think I almost got to the end and just couldn't do it anymore. But again, at that time, Xbox One had already come out. I was playing that a lot. So it was kind of tough. And then I bought the remastered on the PS4 when I was on sale with like the DLC, the standalone DLC or whatever. And, that was something that I kind of played a little bit. But again, with so many other games out, I didn't really have that time to devote to it that I probably should have. So I'm giving them all kind of a chance. I actually went back to Spider-Man and was playing that and have kind of rethought my position on that. While I do think that it can be a little bit repetitive, what game isn't, right? Like I'll say that to any game. It doesn't matter what game it is. Sea of Thieves, whatever, Call of Duty. Every game is repetitive if you think about it. I'm just saying I'm going to give it a real chance. Sit down, give it a go. I played through Spider-Man a little bit more. I've been playing through some of the DLC because I have never touched that. Right, like I have the collector's edition. I got all the DLC. I've never touched any of the DLC, so I've been actually playing through DLC, and I'm gonna hop on some Last of Us and see what I think about that. Again, if you guys are just joining me, please hit the like button, share it out. I would definitely appreciate that. It definitely means a lot to me, like the support and things like that. It's always tough because I always try to be me, and like I said, there's always going to be YouTubers out there that are just going to put a positive spin on no matter what their company does. And for me personally, I can't do that, and whether it's you're not going to do as well or whatever, I guess that's just going to be how it's going to be. People are going to get mad. I get messages now, oh man, you Sony. Like, look, just like if Microsoft does put all their games on every platform, right? Let's just pretend that they do that. It still doesn't change your outlook or your fun if you like Xbox, because they've already said they're going to continue to make Xboxes. They will. You'll be able to play those games on an Xbox or something else if you prefer, right? Like, I get that. I still think it does devalue the actual Xbox platform itself a little bit, but at the end of the day, what I say isn't always, everybody else's opinion as well. But when it comes down to it, I think that if you here's the thing, and I did this, and I was talking to Mooch about this the other day, and I thought it was kind of funny because I was like, I was playing these PlayStation exclusives, right? And I went back to back, and I didn't play through like completely or anything like that, right? What I did was I played a little bit of Detroit. I played some Uncharted 4. I played God of War, which, God, that game is so good. I played Horizon Zero Dawn, and even though that's not my favorite game, I can say that the quality and that AAA, that's just a well-made game. Even if I thought the story was a little lackluster, maybe they fixed some of those issues with the sequel, and it's an amazing thing, like Uncharted 2. Because if you go back and you play Uncharted 1, it's not that great. It's not that you wouldn't think that would be the masterpiece that it turned into, because they really hit the stride with the part 2. Right, so props to Sony for not giving up on that, and Naughty Dog for coming out with 2, which might have been the best game last generation. And this generation, it looks like Sony might have the best game again with God of War. So they obviously have a good idea of what they're doing. And for me personally, I like a lot what Sony does because they do custom consoles. They do collector's editions. I have the Days Gone collector's edition pre-ordered, so I'm really excited about that as well. Yeah, Neverland says, go where the games are. I'll get everything, right? So I'll end up with everything. I just think that it's one of those things where I had just like that. I was upset, man. I think people can understand that, right? Like the amount of hate Xbox fans were getting, the amount of hate that I was getting. I was enjoying Xbox, and I still enjoy Xbox. I just have been playing a little bit more PlayStation lately. Main reason being, like I said, I was doing a little kind of test to see exactly which games were what they were like, right? So I was playing these games. I'm playing these PlayStation 4 games for probably 15, 20 minutes at a time, just checking them out. And then in between playing these games, right, which these are relatively new games with the exception of Uncharted 4, which, by the way, Uncharted 4 still looks like one of the top 5 graphically impressive games of this generation, even if it wasn't my favorite Uncharted game. Then I hopped on the more recent Xbox exclusives or console exclusives, whatever. State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, and obviously stuff like Sea of Thieves, which, look, I love Sea of Thieves. Multiplayer is great with friends. I think I need to amend that. Like, people always go, but that's your game of the generation. Like, multiplayer wise, it's a blast just to play with friends. But at the end of the day, it's nothing super special, and I understand why people don't like it. I understand why people hate the game, to be honest with you. I completely get it. I do. But the quality, when you jump from one game to another, an Xbox exclusive to a PlayStation exclusive, is just night and day. And that got me thinking, you know what I mean? Like, this E3 coming up is probably the biggest E3 in Microsoft's history of Xbox, in my opinion, for a lot of people. Because I think a lot of people are like me, whether they want to admit it or not. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna switch. I'm switching it up. I'm gonna go to PlayStation, right? Like you can go ahead and admit. And I think even Xbox people will admit that PlayStation absolutely dominated this generation and continue to do so, right? Like there might even announce a new Ratchet and Clank game. That might be this big third-party exclusive that they still have. Like maybe Insomniac has another one of those, and the last one was amazing. And they, on top of that, they still have Days Gone and Death Stranding and Last of Us 2. They've got these killer lineups, Ghost of Tsushima. They've got these amazing lineups, and 3 of these are brand new IP this late in the generation. To me, that's incredible, and that's very smart. And when I look at what Microsoft is doing and what I see them possibly doing E3, I hope that they show us something. Because so far I'm hearing there's a couple things that they might show, which is cool, like a Fable, right? Like that would be great, and Ninja Theory's game. But I think they need a little bit more than that. I think they need to show off a lot of things because it's been so long since we've had anything, right? And I get that they don't want to show things off too early, but at the same time, you've got to give people some hope and some idea of where the platform is going to go in the future. And I think that that's something that that's really going to kind of decide what's going to be going on. So let's see. I'm enjoying the newfound honesty. I've got to get back to work now. Oh, okay, well, that's cool, man. Make sure you hit the like button, share it out. Let's see. George says Days Gone smells to me like an 82 Metacritic game. Hey, dude, an 82 Metacritic game, that's like adding 2 Xbox exclusives Metacritic scores together, bro. Like, I hear you, man. I'm looking forward to it. I really like it. Doc Ock says Halo, Gears, and Forza needs to change. Here's the thing, Doc Ock. I like those games. Forza, if somebody would have told me that I would be getting a little bit tired of Forza, I would probably call them a liar and say they didn't know what they were talking about, right? But here's the truth, and this is going to be hard for some people to deal with. Forza Horizon 4, while a fine game, right? There's nothing technically wrong with the game. I have to say that the game itself is just Forza Horizon. And actually, it's probably my least favorite Forza Horizon. Well, maybe, I don't know. Like it's kind of a toss up because I don't think Forza Horizon. I thought Forza Horizon 2 was good, but it wasn't great. I don't know if it was amazing. I did like the Fast and the Furious free add-on or whatever that was, but at the same time, I do think that it's just those are getting a little bit redundant every other year. And I'm glad that it's going to be taking a little bit of a break. Same thing with the Forza Motorsport series, right? Like that would have came out this year. So, those games are taking a break. Good. I think they need a break. Then you look at Halo, which, by the way, there's this rumor of this $500 million budget or whatever. 343 Industries, Halo Infinite, the biggest and most expensive game in development with a budget of over $500 million, which doesn't even include marketing costs. That's right. There's a rumor report. I linked it in the description too. So a German outlet, Xbox Dynasty, claimed that Halo Infinite's development costs currently dwarf the likes of even Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2, which is huge. But Microsoft apparently has given 343 Industries a blank check. Now, here's the thing, right? Which if you guys are just joining me, please like, share, all that kind of stuff. I would really appreciate it. I love doing these kind of surprise podcasts and things like that. Yeah, I saw that the rumor was kind of debunked, Gaming 105, but I'm just talking in general. I feel like Halo 5 or Halo Infinite, excuse me, does have a large budget. I just don't think that it's that it warrants it, right? So what I mean by that is that game is incredibly long in the tooth, and people call it out as being such, right? The funny thing is, when you look at a game like Zelda or Mario, right? People don't go, those are long in the tooth because each one is amazing and probably more amazing than the last. So I always think that's kind of funny when people are like, Halo's long in the tooth. I think that Halo, is going to be big. It's going to continue to be big, but I'm not sure any amount of budget is going to bring Halo back to where it was because, let's be honest, much like Star Wars movies and things like that, people were at a certain point in their life when something comes out and they enjoyed it a certain way, right? Like when the original trilogy of Star Wars came out and their kids saw it, they loved it, right? It's amazing. And then when the prequels came out, they hated it because they were older, excuse me, and it wasn't the same feeling. And that's the same thing with Halo, right? So Halo tries to evolve a little bit and bring in new fans, which it has to do, and people hate it. And the original one, people that love that Halo 3, which I liked Halo 3 at the time, but when you go back and play it now without the sprint, it just seems so slow paced and just like too old school. They didn't do enough to update it. And then you see that it is possible to do updated versions of games, even multiplayer games, because we see games, single player games reinvent themselves. Like God of War is a good example, and we've seen other multiplayer games reinvent themselves. Even Call of Duty and Battlefront, Battlefield, all these games have kind of reinvented themselves. And I just think that that's what Halo needs, and Halo needs to not worry about like the SWS social justice issues, right? Um, Jordan Ship says, "Crap. If Xbox drops the ball this E3, are you switching to PlayStation?" Here's the thing. I'm going to get both, but I am definitely more very, very hyped about PlayStation for the simple fact that, God, those games are so good. It's content. Even if PlayStation did the same exact thing as Microsoft and put their games on everything, right? Let's say Sony decided to put all their exclusives on PC and stream them on whatever you want. I would still get a PlayStation because I'm a console guy, just like I'm still going to get an Xbox, right? Because I'm a console guy and I want to play my games on the console, my big TV, and kick back and that kind of stuff. So I will say that PlayStation has my interest for VR. And those exclusives that they have are just a cut above everything else. You just look at what Xbox has done, and that's just a simple fact. This generation, and even go back and play something that I really liked originally, and I went back and played Quantum Break, and that game, the gameplay is just not there. It's just not where it needs to be, and I think that's kind of disappointing. And when you go back, and I'm not saying Sony's had it perfect this generation, because some of their games dropped the ball. Obviously, Drive Club just wasn't a fun game. I know some people like it. The Order 1886, Knack, those games just aren't good. Killzone, and then they really hit their stride. You know what I mean? With the Uncharted's and Ratchet and Clanks, Until Dawn, Detroit's. People really love Bloodborne. That's not really my type of game. I have it because it was free or whatever, and I downloaded it. Maybe I'll boot it up, see what the fuss is about. I probably couldn't get anywhere on the game, but maybe worth checking it out. The point is, I think it's like as gamers we expand a little bit. If more people would be willing to give VR a chance, I think they'd see how awesome it can be. And I'm really excited to see where that kind of goes in the future. Disappointed that Microsoft isn't going that way, but I am excited to see what Sony has to offer, because they have the better exclusives at this point, or the better console exclusives, whatever you want to call them in the future going forward. I don't care how the industry changes, as long as I can play my games on a dedicated box. I like that. And I think that that's what I'm going to be, that's what I'm going to be talking about. Next doc, I will link that. That's my bad. You know what? I was watching WrestleMania last night, and it didn't end until 12:30, and I was like in a hurry to get that up. I was super tired. And so, yeah, I put that up. But yeah, it does look like, if you guys didn't catch my video last night, it does look like they're going to show off Fable at E3, which I think is pretty kick ass. And I think that it's, just in time too. I think that it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be excited about, because we haven't had that this entire generation. And I think we deserve it, right? So what I mean by that is, we deserve to get these game announcements. I know some of them might not come out for a couple of years, but we had such piss poor years, right? Like, and I'm not saying that the games have been terrible, except for State of Decay 2, which I don't understand how anybody could really like that. That game is so bad. But we've had just this run of not great games, including but not limited to Halo Wars 2, which is okay. Then we get these smaller games like Cuphead and Super Lucky Tales, and they go to Nintendo Switch or whatever. But for me personally, the meat and potatoes is like the big AAA games, and the fact that Microsoft hasn't really been investing in these games is a disappointment. And I don't understand how anybody could think otherwise. Just to be honest with you, I just feel like if you just look at the games that we've gotten, we haven't gotten great games, and that's a bit of a shame. And that's on Microsoft. They're a company that was providing us with something. I don't care what shape that company was in. The bottom line is that company is worth over $500 billion, and it's really a shame, and nobody should give them a free pass for not delivering us with the type of games that we deserve and we're asking for years. Like, they ignored us. And now, even now, right, when we get any kind of announcement for Xbox, what are the announcements that we get? If you like, ask yourself in your heart of hearts, what are the announcements that we get that are Xbox related? It's usually something streaming related with Project X Cloud, or it's something PC related. Like, I just saw an article talking about the PC getting some kind of bar where you can create memes, and they're making Windows better for gaming, guys, right? But how about making gaming better for Xbox fans that have an Xbox One? You know what I mean? How about you do that? How about you give us something that we have that's worth a damn? You know, I think that Gears 5 or Gears 4 was really good, and Gears 5 looks good. But my main worry about this, and I worry about even talking about this, right? Why are they changing the protagonist in Gears of War, right? Why are they changing it? And particularly, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it was needed. But when you change the protagonist to the girl, I mean, Gears was always just like this bro game, and I get that you can change it in the day and age we live in. But to me, like, an evolution from Marcus to a son made a lot of sense, and I'm having trouble exactly finding the sense that it makes where it moves to Kate. I understand that, like, the ending and stuff like that, but to me, it just seems like they're trending that way. And there was even rumors that they might give you an option to have a play as a female Master Chief. Like, I don't know. To me, create a strong female character right from the start, like a Laura Croft or something, or you have some Joanna Dark. Create those characters. Don't really push that kind of stuff on everybody and then expect everybody to be real happy about it, because you see what happened with Battlefield, right? And I'm not saying I had a problem with Battlefield, right? I might not have a problem with Gears, right? It could end up being great and the perfect thing. And maybe it's not what I think it is, right? And I will admit that I'm wrong. What I'm saying is, um, yeah, DJ, I agree. It could be having something to do with Kate and the Locust Queen. I get that. Which, by the way, if you guys are just joining me, please hit that like button, share it out. I would really appreciate it. And if she is, going to be the Locust Queen or whatever, I get it. I completely do. I think that's fine. I just think, in terms of what these companies are doing, like particularly Microsoft, right? Because they do this whole, sort of lifestyle, right? They're very much like the participation trophies, lattes, all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm worried about, it, right? So I'm worried that they might soften Gears a little bit more than it needs to be. And so that is a worry in the back of my mind. And I will be the first to go out there and say, hey, they kind of ruined it if they do that. So, it could be something really good. I don't know. We'll have to see how it kind of pans out. But I do worry about that. And I do think that it's something to kind of keep an eye on. Like, people might go, oh, well, who cares if they make Master Chief a woman? Well, I mean, that'd be like if the next Tomb Raider game was Larry Croft, right? Like, you can create strong characters brand new and have that for people. You don't have to change things around. I felt like they tried to be too inclusive with Halo 5, and it didn't really work out because none of the characters were memorable. You still need good characters, right? You can throw in as many different characters as you want, but if they aren't good characters, people aren't going to care, and the game's probably not going to set the world on fire. And I think that's the problem that we had kind of going forward, and I think that's a problem that Microsoft has to avoid with future games and things like that. So hopefully they can continue to do that. Let me see. Gears of War 5. Well, Rich of Cucumber USA. I don't know. Like, I'm torn. I'm gonna play it, obviously. I think I would say everybody should have to judge things for themselves, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not really one to. I worry about Gears most of all, right? So before anybody jumps on it, I'm an Xbox hater. I got a big old Gears tattoo on my arm. That's my favorite franchise. That's why I worry about it, right? You go from, the first trilogy or whatever, which I thought was some of the best games in the world and still hold up incredibly well. And then I thought Gears 4 was good. I don't think it was great. I think they did what they had to do because they had to keep people interested. They have to keep people, they had to make people believe that they could actually do a Gears game. right? And I think they accomplished that. And now they're going to change it, and it's going to be a bigger world and stuff like that. And I'm all for that. I am 100% all for that. I think that's the smartest move that they can make. I just feel like I don't want them to change things. I don't want them to change things that people were happy with, right? So Gears is a very hardcore game, and a certain type of gamer can play that game. If you're not good at it, it's not fun to get smacked around and go 0-10 or whatever. And I think so that scares people off. I don't want to see them go completely casual route with that. Oh, here we got a girl protagonist. Oh, we dumb down the multiplayer. That's the stuff that I worry about. TLR9 says, crap, which PS4 Pro do you have? That red Spider-Man custom one is nice. I hope extra. I just have the regular one, TLR9. If you guys remember, I pre-ordered the PS4 Pro and forgot to cancel it off of Amazon, and then boom, showed up because I was originally going to cancel that. Sam says, are you going to get Kate's name tattooed on your neck? No. Daniel says, how soon do you think we will get concrete evidence on next-gen consoles? I think we're going to get them E3, but I think we're starting to see leaks more and more now. I've been talking to some people, the same people that I got some information about the One X, when it was Scorpio, and Project Neo, and some things are happening now with because what happens is these companies, they send out their these lines, right? What they plan for the future, right? Their tent poles of what the future is, right? And these things usually go a year in advance. So they tell you everything you need to know, and hopefully we get a better idea about that. We're not getting new consoles this year, but we're going to get at least Xbox announcements this year, and probably Sony ones, because I can't imagine them just letting Microsoft have the complete domination of being the only ones talking about next gen consoles and stuff like that. So I think that that's something that we'll see for sure this year. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, someone called me a pony. Man, that hurts. Those DB parts in Gears of War were boring. As far as Gears of War 5, I wasn't happy with pushing Marcus to the side, so Kate part makes it even more annoying. Yeah, like that could be the thing. That does worry me a little bit. If you guys are just watching, please like, share, subscribe. Maybe we can get up over 100 likes. I would really appreciate that. Doc Ock says, and now they replace Joel with Ellie. I think Naughty Dog is that whole California vibe thing, right? And that's a problem, I guess. Like, I just don't, and I say this over and over again. It's not, is it really controversial for me to say I don't want politics and all this crap shoved in my face? I just want good games. Like, I don't see, just give me good games. I don't care about the politics. I don't care about, social issues in my video games, to be honest with you. I just want to have a goofy, fun time and enjoy the stories. So, what if Marcus is killed off in Gears 5? That's a possibility too. Let's see. New Twisted Metal for PlayStation. Also, remember Xbox bundling Xbox Live and Game Pass together. So, yeah, I love Splinter Cell. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So anyway, bundling Xbox Live and Game Pass together, and I think I did a video on this, right? For me personally, that just goes to show you, and I've heard this is 100% true. I trust Brad Sam's his intel. Other people have said that this is going to happen. So basically, this is the rumor, basically almost confirmed at this point, that they're going to bundle Game Pass and Xbox Live for $15 a month, which is $180 a year. If you were to just buy a year of Game Pass and a year of Xbox Live, it's $180 a year. That's not saving anything. The only person that's saving is somebody, somebody that goes month to month, because those do charge you $10 each month for each service, right? So it's $20 a month, because that's like the foolish way to pay for those things. So basically, you're not getting much of a deal, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's always going to be something that you have to, yeah. Hold on. Sleepy Goblin says, in this case, I don't feel like his politics crap. Cat is just more interesting than JD. Hey, you could be right. You could be right, man. I'm not saying 100% for sure that this is it, so don't be down on me for that, right? I don't know if that's the case. It is a worry, right? Because if you look at that demo, or that opening shot of Halo Infinite as well, right? Like, hey, Master Chief's leg is very skinny, in that. And people are speculating that they're going to let you choose to be a female Master Chief as well. I feel like that ship has sailed on those games, especially Halo, right? Didn't they learn? Hopefully, people want to play as Master Chief. If you want to create a kick-ass character, I thought Cortana is a kick-ass character in her own right in those series. So I would not understand why you would do that, right? Like, I'm not against playing as female characters or strong women. I love that. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is still one of my favorite shows. I'm all for that, but I just feel like the pandering aspect has gotten out of hand a little bit, and so I really wish that they would hopefully stick to more what we're used to. And then if you want to create a new strong female character, go ahead. But why should I have to feel bad because I want to play as big burly ass guys in Gears of War, which is the way it's always been. So I am, I'm cautiously optimistic, right? But let me say this much. I'm very excited. The two most games I'm most excited about this year are Days Gone and Gears. Gears, we'll see more about at E3. Hopefully they don't let me down with that because I really want that game to be so good, and I really want that game to be everything that the last one wasn't. And I'm hoping that they can actually pull that off, right? Like, I wanted Marcus to be more involved in that game than he was, and they didn't put him in there. So I mean, that kind of is what it is. But hopefully they don't like totally ignore what's gonna be, what we've come from with the past, right? There's a way to go about it. There's certainly a way to go about it, and I think that's something that people have to take in mind as well. Also, I did get Robert Griffin says 60K subs. Thanks, brother. Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Any of the donations and stuff like that, all kinds of thanks and gratitude there. Exactly, man. Buffy was awesome. Thanks, Noof. What's up, Noof? Nooga, boom, boom, kaboom. Yeah, and as things start to settle down, my personal life and things like that. Like I said, many of you guys know I'm getting married, and I've been sick the last week, and I had some car troubles. So yeah, like life can sometimes throw you a bit of a mixed bag. It always seems, for me anyway, I get good stuff and then bad stuff happens and then more good stuff. I guess that's just life though, right? It's like if you don't kind of focus on that and you just go, oh well, things are actually pretty good if you allow them to be good. If you're just expecting things to be bad all the time, they will be. There'll always be something bad to happen there. But for me personally, like right now, the reason why I can do this, my car getting fixed as we speak, why I missed MNC yesterday was because of that reason. And I'll have it back today, later this afternoon, but it's still a bit of a bummer because I missed a day of work, and I miss MNC, and that meant I missed all 3 podcasts, and I don't like doing that. I don't like letting people down. Mooch and Gadang put a lot of hard work into doing the show, and same thing with Crossfire. It's one thing for me to miss my own show because that's, my own show, and, it's just, and I kind of even sprung that on people late. I was just like, there's no way I'm going to be able to talk for 2 hours. And, so I had to miss it, unfortunately, and that kind of sucks. But is the future Mrs. Crapgamer a gamer? She's getting there. She's getting there. We've got the Xbox in the bedroom, and she can she likes Peggle 2 and some of those things. I'm gonna try and get her on to some other games as well that I think it, and and kind of see what's up, and hopefully hopefully it all goes well. you know let's see. Oh, you know what, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, liking this up, I'd like to get a 100. I'd like to get 100 likes on this as well. So Goat G says, I've been married for 20 years, but Buffy was my team. Oh, I hear you, dude. I hear you, dude. There's rumors about a Mech Assault game, a new Mech Assault game. So maybe we'll get something down the line. I don't know. I would hope so. I hope that we get more. So let's see. Crap never go on pony. Keep drinking. Well, listen, dude. Here's the thing. Like I've mentioned multiple times, I'm gonna play on everything. Nothing is gonna change for me next generation except for yeah, I mean, Y9 power, dude, it happens. Everybody, here's the thing, right? And I and I want to be as honest as I can about this, because I know I never talk bad about like other YouTubers or anything like that. But for me personally, I've been doing this stuff and the amount of content that I put, which everybody's noticed I put out less content now, right? It's not hard to see. I was doing 3 videos a day. I was doing 4 podcasts a week. I do less now, much less. It's I haven't had a break from this in I think 3 or 4 years, and it can get stressful, and at times like now when there's not a ton of content to talk about, you know what I mean? Um, I think it's always fun to have stuff and I always try to do stuff, whether it's an opinion piece or a little news piece or whatever, or podcasts like this or whatever. And I realize these things aren't going to get huge views, but it's not always about that. It's like I like interacting with you guys. I like talking about things that I just maybe worries that I have in gaming. Sometimes you guys make me feel better about what's going on in gaming. You know what I mean? And so I like to kind of keep it at that way, and for me, I haven't had that true break, and so I cut back on my content just to kind of recharge my batteries. And I plan on upgrading my computer before E3, and I plan on going all out for E3 like usual. Probably me and Mooch, doing a lot of different things, and maybe somebody else too. I don't know. People, for whatever reason, I don't know. Like I'm not a big, like, people aren't big on me for whatever reason. Like, I don't have a lot of people on YouTube that are like that I'm friendly with. And it's not really, and I don't really know why. Like, I don't talk bad about anybody. In fact, mostly I hear back that people talk mad crap about me, right? It is what it is. I don't really ever talk bad about anybody because I feel like when you're focused on other people, it's hard to focus on your own thing, and I'd rather really just focus on my own thing. And do my own thing. It's a small YouTube channel. Yes, 60,000 subs. Once in a while I'll get a video that hits big. For the most part, I just do middling kind of stuff. And I know, like, for me, I'm just looking at it, like an average video somewhere between 3,500 and 5,500 views for me. And a lot of people would think that's low, but then there's people that would love to get that, right? So I never look at it and go, oh, though that video failed, or that man, that didn't do what I wanted to do. I never look at it that way. I don't have a set number of views or anything in mind for anything I do. I just like talking about video games, and I feel like, especially when it comes to podcasts, and this is not bragging, but I especially feel like when it comes to podcast, and I'll be honest right here, and I know some people might disagree with me, and that's fine. The best person on the mic is Mooch, right? Hands down, he's the best podcaster, quickest on his feet when it comes to this stuff. And I knew it right away when I met the guy, and when I invited him into a podcast, like, this is the guy. He's the best podcaster I've ever seen. And me and him play well off each other because we're good friends. And so that's not a knock on anybody else, but I feel like anybody can do, like, if I really wanted to set 10 hours aside to do a kick-ass video and edit it really well and do it in 1080p 60 or whatever, and have cuts and all this kind of, I could do a video on par with anybody. I can guarantee you that. I 100% could guarantee you that I could do that on par with anybody. While it's much harder for somebody to go, I can go out there and do exactly what Crapgamer and Mooch does in a podcast and be on par with them. I don't feel like I feel like that's harder to do, because when you're in here doing this kind of stuff, it's not scripted. Like, I can script whatever I want, and that video is going to come out well, and I can edit, and I can do all that kind of stuff. I don't have time to do that, of course. I wish I did, but I, full time and all that kind of stuff. And now obviously I have a fiance and stuff, but for me, it's always one of those things where I just like getting the content out. I realize my channel is nothing super special. And like, that's why I always find it funny when people try to trash talk my channel. It's like, I have a small YouTube channel. I hit at a pretty good time when people were looking for a particular something. Now there's a million other video channels just like it, or do the same thing I did years ago. But there comes a point where you got to stop that kind of, behavior, like just the way because things change and times change and people get offended, and I would rather be able to continue to give my opinion in a respectful way than just be out there like cussing. And people notice I don't cuss as much, or I rarely do it, because you just can't really get away with that anymore, and there's also, you got kids watching, you got you're an influencer, you're doing this, so I always just look at it as that way, and I just try to do the best that I can do. But again, one day maybe I'll have more time to do it. You know what I mean? If YouTube were strictly my job, it'd be easier to kind of do the type of videos that I know I could do if I had the time and effort and things like that. So for me personally, I'm always gonna give my all. Like the podcasts are the best way for me to give my all, and I feel like you know, and I feel like that's a lot of people kind of recognize that. Um, so hopefully you guys kind of enjoy the podcast. And I get that a lot too. People go, wow, crap, you're a little bit different in your podcast than you are on your regular videos. Well, the regular videos, like I did a video um, about how PlayStation 4 was better than Xbox this generation, right? And that was not a scripted video, but it was just me talking for I think 11 minutes, and and I did it in 1080p 60, and that video took me 3 hours to upload to YouTube. 3 hours. So people wonder why I cut my videos short, and they're shorter, and they might not be the quality that I just don't have the internet. That's just the truth. While I can sit there and ramble and ramble and ramble in this type of podcast setting, when it comes to you know doing videos like 1080p 60 for an 11-minute video, it took me 3 hours to upload. So that's probably a little bit more why I can excel in these type of situations. So that to me is super important to be able to always interact with you guys and kind of and get the feedback and stuff like that. Even on Xbox Live, people are surprised. MOH, like Medal of Honor Space Crapgamer, that's my name. Um, you know, on Xbox Live, I always talk to everybody. If you send me a message on Xbox Live, I will respond to you. It might not be right away, but usually within a day or so, I'll respond, and we can chat or whatever. That, like, I like doing that. Like, the interaction, I think, is really cool, and I do think that you know, that more people should do that, be more interactive with their fans and things like that. I don't think I have a tremendous amount of fans. I think I have some cool fans, and so I've met some really cool people, and I try to interact and well, I used to be able to game a lot more, but with the fans and stuff like that. So for me, that's always something that's in the back of my mind, is I want to be able to interact with the fans as much as possible. Now, what was funny was I was going to do a video about this, but I decided not to, which was a developer talking about crossplay, Sony's stance on crossplay. And he says families want to play together and nobody owns 4 PlayStations, which I thought this was funny because this was a PAX East thing, and somebody was there talking about the fighting game Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and they highlighted how Sony's stance limiting crossplay hinders games and gamers, and he said that families want to play together, but no household owns 4 PlayStation consoles to do that. He says right now it's not fully there because one of the biggest platforms out there, Sony, still isn't fully opening up. They've made some exceptions with a handful of games like Fortnite and Rocket League, but they've said they have to judge whether they can allow through other games or not. They're getting a lot of pressure to open up. People want to play with their friends, and not all your friends are going to get on the exact same platform as you are. Being able to do that is great. Also, families like to play together. One thing we've seen with games like Fortnite is that a whole family, they want to play together, but nobody owns 4 PlayStation. Dad's going to play on an iPad. One kid is on a PS4. Another kid is on a phone. That kind of gameplay is only possible through crossplay. I have to a little bit disagree with that because I don't want to be playing my console versus somebody on an iPad or somebody on a phone. I think that's terrible, to be honest with you. He said, then linked the importance of crossplay with the rising prominence of games as a service. Stressed that peripherals should be properly matched across different platforms in the order. Okay, so then he fixes himself here for crossplay to be fair. He says also connecting crossplay to be more recent notion of games as a service is especially powerful when you're running a game as a service. You want people to be able to access that game from any device. Fortnite is one of the best examples, being able to access on any device, mobile, Switch, PC, console. It's important. Another consideration is matchmaking around peripherals, having that factored into your servers, and matchmaking is going to be important depending on what type of controls you're using. If you're using a controller, you need to make sure matchmaking puts you together with other players that are doing the same. See, that's what I agree on. Like, I always just want the ability to not game with other people on other platforms or on a mouse and keyboard or whatever, because I always feel like that's super unfair. Excuse me while I take a drink real quick. So yeah, like that's how I always kind of look at things. And hey, we're almost at 100 likes. That would be awesome if you guys want to go ahead and do that. I'm going to be taking some questions and stuff like that in a little bit as well, if you guys are really interested in kind of asking some questions or finding out what I think about some things. So yeah, I just thought that was funny because I for one, oh, man, I don't understand this whole crossplay craze. Like I get it a little bit. Like people do want to play with their friends, and I think that that kind of thing is cool. But for me personally, I just don't think it's a huge deal. I think that most people they get the console that their friend has anyway, and so we'll play with their friends. And like I said, I don't want to be playing with people on an iPad or a phone or you know what I mean. Like I just feel like that's kind of a mistake. And if you look at what happened, like the Nintendo Switch, they took that out of Fortnite, basically because Fortnite on the Switch had a disadvantage when compared to the other platforms like the consoles and things like that. So now they're not doing that, and I think that's very telling as to what's going on. Just kind of in the future. Let's see. Somebody says I would buy a new Sega console in a heartbeat. Hey, I would too, man. I was a huge Sega fan. You know, I loved Sega. Microsoft has 14 worldwide studios. They, with way more budget now and still buying more, they have the best console from the start and affordable for the casual. They are good. Damn good. Here's the thing. I'm not disagreeing with you per se, but just look at what those, like, are you really expecting big things from In Exile? I mean, were you a big Bard's Tale fan or a big, Wasteland fan, right? Or Compulsion Games? Did you really love We Happy Few? I'm just saying, I, and when will these other students, and like, it looks like the initiative is doing smaller projects. So who knows when they're going to be ready? Like, that's my question. It's like, when is these games going to be ready? So, let's see. Goat G says, I think PS Vita could have done better if they supported it better, not taking it away so quick. I would have loved limited edition ones. Yeah, I agree. Mr. Reese says, crap, do you think Microsoft will give Sony a bigger fight next gen? No. And you guys can quote me on that. I think next gen is going to be a blowout. We're going to look back on this generation and wish that Microsoft put up as good of a fight as they did this generation, which was hardly any. Because I think next generation, Sony's going to jump out to a huge lead. I mean, it's going to be 20 million consoles right out the gate. I got a feeling for Sony. They're just going to kill their games line up. Here's what Microsoft is staring down, right? Microsoft is staring down the fact that they're going to have to still rely on Gears, Halo, and Forza until some of these other games are ready. Maybe we'll get a Ninja Theory one before then and Fable, right? Because there is a rumor that the Fable game could be, on there as well. But you have to look at it this way, right? Sony is going to probably launch with some cross-title games like Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and, Death Stranding. Those are probably going to be on PS4 and PS5. They're going to announce, I think, next year at E3, because I think they'll be back at E3. They're going to announce stuff like God of War 2 and, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. They're going to announce these games, folks, right? And Microsoft is still going to be too scared to actually go out and announce anything that's too soon. So games like Obsidian, when are we going to get something from them? If it's still 4 years out, Microsoft won't announce it. So Sony really is going to be unabated for the first couple of years, and I think that's going to be Sam Dillinger says, I don't think Spider-Man 2 TLR9 custom console for Gears. If they have a custom console for Gears 5, I would get it. If they don't, I'm going to be incredibly let down. They need custom consoles and a CE, a collector's edition. Sam Dillinger says, I don't think you're going to enjoy Days Gone. It's a lot like The Last of Us. Here's the thing, Sam. I am going to be – they're not zombies. They're freakers, so get it right. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the thing. I'm getting ready to start playing I'm going to play The Last of Us Remastered. I'm about to start it. When I played it on the PS3 when it originally launched, I almost beat it. I thought it was okay. I was really, Xbox One had just come out, so I was really interested in playing those games. When the remastered version came out on the PS4, I bought it for $5 or something. Kind of messed around with the DLC a bit. Was like, because other things were out. I'm going to give it a little bit of a chance. I'm going to sit down and play it and see if I can't maybe get into it. Days Gone, I like the whole bike thing, motorcycle. They really sold me with that last trailer that they showed. I thought that was really cool. PSVR 2. I'm excited about that as well. It looks like they're going to be PSVR 2 is going to be wireless. It's going to have a lot of stuff. So, look, I think The Last of Us 2 looks like a fantastic game, right? I think it looks absolutely amazing. Just the problem was I'm not really I wasn't really into the first one, so I wouldn't really know about this one. You know what I mean? So if I do like if I do like the first one and I'm gonna go back and play it, I'll be excited about the second one. I don't know. Mooch seems to love these damn games, and um I'm trying like hell. You know what I mean? I'm trying like hell to get into these games, so hopefully I can. So, uh, let's see. I only finished The Last of Us once, never finished it when I tried replaying. I don't know. Antonio Alicia says, heard Mikey Barra is excited to stream The Last of Us 2. You know what? I heard you're right. So I think that that's hilarious. To be quite frank with you, it's going to be interesting to see how that um, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I'm interested in seeing if the game is going to be good, So we'll see how it goes. Any other questions? Hmm. Let's see here. What do we got here? We've got I'm entering the Microsoft Next Gen with hope, yet cautiously optimistic. This E3, folks, I'm telling you, this E3 is going to be the one that really kind of ties down what a lot of people do and what a lot of people go with, right? I'm just telling you, I think that people want to see games, right? Like, do they want to see xCloud? Do they want to hear about PC for extended periods of time? No, I don't even think they care that much about the next consoles, because I think you can do that like the way they did the S and the X or Scorpio edition, right? I think that they can announce it at the end and take 5 minutes. If you don't have and they say it's going to be the same length this E3 as their previous ones, if you don't have games and content, new content to show off, then I don't know what to say. I think people are going to be extremely disappointed, and I think people are going to be continue to be disappointed. I think that Microsoft has done a good job of getting people hyped for another E3 because obviously they're the only game in town. Sony's not going to be there. Nintendo's going to do a direct. Nintendo does their own thing anyway. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. What's up, XDOS? Appreciate the love, man. Microsoft going to skip VR again. It looks that way. It looks like they are. TLR9 says, I love Xbox, but it's going to be hard for Microsoft to compete with Spider-Man 2, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2, New God of War, Next Uncharted, Destiny 3 rights, Call of Duty rights. You're right, dude. Here's the thing. And it was funny because Jez Gordon from Windows Central mentioned this. He says it's really going to, or I'll paraphrase, it's kind of going to bite Microsoft in the butt, the fact that they're not known for good exclusives, and especially this generation, right? That's going to come back to haunt them. Let's see. M Strong says, yep, it'll decide for me what will be my primary console, but I do want xCloud at the same time. Well, I mean, listen, like, I don't know, man. Like, that xCloud stuff just seems silly to me. Let me see. PZ says, are you going to play Borderlands 3 crap? If I can mooch a copy, I'll probably play it, because as we get later into the year, more and more planning and money goes aside for the wedding that I'm planning. So yeah, that's going to be a thing. Props to Mooch, because Mooch hooked me up with a copy of Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition. So I'm going to actually be able to get into that and kind of and play it and have a good time with that. Mega Dave says PC and xCloud plus new IPs for PC gamers. I meant Xbox. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a bit of a problem. Show the Xbox fans that you actually give a damn, because I still think that at times it seems like they don't really care. And I feel like that's a shame. Like I said, as an Xbox fan, I have to say and I get it, because the Xbox One X is amazing and it's the best place to play multi-plats and stuff like that. Completely. I get that. But I just want to say that as an Xbox console guy and only a console guy, I feel like Microsoft doesn't care very much at all about the console. per se anymore. And so I feel like that's a little bit of a, you know, I'm bummed about that because I want them to care about the console, and it doesn't seem like they are. So, which Xbox and PS4 limited console do you like best? Okay, well, Xbox didn't really come. They haven't come out with an Xbox One X limited console. Maybe that green one or whatever it was. I like the Gears S console. I like that Titanfall console. Now on the PlayStation side, they've done a few. That Spider-Man one looks amazing. And probably that Star Wars Battlefront one that they did. Mm. Let's see. Crap, do you ever see a console future of such things like a 32X adaptation type of setup? No, I think they'll just come out with mid-gen upgrades. So, Neverland says Metal Gear Solid 5, the Kingdom Hearts 3-1. I don't know what you mean right there. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet. I wanted to, but I didn't really have a chance to get it yet. Now True says Xbox One X is not better than Switch. Dude, Xbox One X is so much better than Switch in terms of performance and the third-party support. I'm not really sure. Like, yeah, the Switch has way better exclusives, but the Xbox One X is definitely better than the Nintendo Switch. So, yeah. Hey, guys, hit that like button. Maybe we can get 150 likes. I would really appreciate it. Let's see. What's the new Star Wars game? Is it for both systems? Yeah, the new Star Wars Jedi Exile, whatever the hell it is, mouthful of Jedi, whatever it is. Okay, you said, yeah, that new Star Wars game is going to be on PS4 and Xbox One. It's actually going to get announced, I think, next week. So, yeah. You meant custom consoles, PS4 Pro, Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah, those ones look really good. I like that Spider-Man console, man. I think that one is super slick. And probably, you know, can I play Xbox X in bed? I guess. I do. I have one in my bedroom. So, you know, just how it is. Just how it is. The new Star Wars game is coming out this year. It's going to come out this holiday, supposedly. So, and it's made by the guys that made Titanfall and Apex. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Did I see Shazam? I haven't saw it. I want to see it so bad, right? Like, here's the thing. And people might not like this. I really liked Aquaman. I think we're starting to see a little shift there. Like that Joker movie looked very interesting from DC. I think DC is starting to pick their game up a little bit. And you look on the Marvel side, and they're starting to go off in a direction where I don't know any of the characters or anything. Like Captain Marvel. Like I had heard of that character, but I thought the movie was lackluster. I thought it was kind of boring. And yeah, I had a lot of problems with that movie. Like the main problem I think was the fact that they made Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury kind of a comedic sidekick or whatever. I didn't really like that at all. Like that was probably my biggest problem with that whole movie. So yeah, Joker looks good. The only console is rocking a Ultra HD player. Yes, right now until they decide not to or whatever. But hit that like game, I would appreciate it. Playing Xbox One X in bed is, hold on, what does that say? As comfortable as the Switch. Let's beef. Why isn't it, man? I think it's just as it's just as comfortable. So why aren't more Xbox fans up in arms with the direction of Xbox? PC gets exclusives, free Xbox Live, possibly more Xbox content on other platforms. Our only true exclusive is paying for Xbox Live. Dude, I've been saying this more and more, right? Like, why the hell is everybody's just so content with paying money to play online, and we have nothing to literally show for it except for piss poor games each month that keep getting worse and worse, right? Like they're not even messing with AAA games anymore on this stuff, right? It's just like, hey, we're getting you know, we're getting these like indie games and things like that. And I also want to mention this. At what point did Xbox fans start accepting indie games as being the things? We, even including me, we're making fun of Sony fans for bringing up indie games, and now Xbox fans bring up indie games like they're the most amazing thing ever. I just got to say, for me personally, most indie games are a miss. Very few are fun, and none of them I put investment in the way I do the big AAA games because there's just not content there. They're all throwbacks for the most part of old games that I played 20 years ago. And nostalgia is a hell of a drug, but I don't really want to go back and play those when I have tons of new games that I haven't even touched yet. So yeah, that to me, like that whole double standard, and I see it on both sides, right? Like both sides do that stuff. And it's very frustrating, I think, on both sides. You know what I mean? But I still think that what Microsoft has going for it is they have a lot going for themselves if they can pull their studios together and put out some games and some new IP that really excite people. Because right now, when you look at the three consoles that are out, the Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox One, the one that gets people the least excited for exclusive content is Xbox, and that's because 90% of the time it's a miss, right? It's something low rated, and whether or not they're good games or fun games, quote unquote, or not, people look at those ratings and they go, well, I'm going to stay away from that because the game of the year that just won like a million game of the year awards, God of War, is exclusive to PlayStation, and the one before that, the year before that, Horizon Zero Dawn won a bunch of awards. That's exclusive to PlayStation. So I think that people are kind of are smart with that kind of stuff. And Sony is also smart with the fact that they play hardball. Look at what that store is doing, right? Like Red Dead Redemption 2 might be exclusive to the Epic Game Store, right? How well do you think that's going to go over? I love what Epic Games is doing. The Epic Game Store, I love what they're doing because they're in it to win it. They know you need that content. You got to give somebody something that they don't have. That's what I think is really exciting for people. That's what I think Microsoft needed to do. They did that with the Xbox 360. They were hungry, right? They were Rocky 2, right? They were Rocky 2. And right now the Xbox One is Rocky 3 because they got served a bunch of lesser opponents, and then here comes PS4 Clubber Lang knocking them out, right? They need to get that hunger back, but they don't have the balls for that anymore, right? They don't have that fight. When they were Rocky 2, man, they dropped their console first. They were buying rights to Call of Duty. They were buying rights for a year to BioShock. They had Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 was exclusive for a year. They were doing everything they could to beat Sony, and now it's like they roll over for them and play dead. And they'll never stop doing that. I don't think Phil's the guy to have them kind of step out of that sort of the way that they do things. So next doc says we have to speak up, guys. Our only true exclusive is paying Xbox Live, dude. And a lot of people think Microsoft is going to offer free Xbox Live. That's not going to happen, guys. Which, by the way, as we got more people watching, please like this video and share it out. I would really appreciate it. As you guys know, YouTube doesn't share it out to social media anymore. You have to do that yourself. So if you could share it out, I would really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Get more people to come here. Crap, the ponies just want to mess up with you. They like to rub it in your face after getting trashed last gen by 360. That's all. Well, listen, dude. I'm not a bad guy. Like, I know there's that perception or whatever, right? I don't have a problem with Sony guys. I have a problem with like extremists, right? Like, I feel like if you can like your platform without really getting personal, like I'm not going to get personal with anybody and start talking about you're this or that because that's pointless, man. We're talking video games. I can have a good conversation with people and not have to worry about that stuff. So, oh, Rich, Red Dead 2 was amazing, dude. Come on, man. It's amazing. Um, mm. Switch have not put out exclusive in years since the first year of gaming console. You can play Smash Brothers on the Wii U port. Yeah, I mean, you could say that. Here's the thing: the Nintendo Wii U was basically a a prototype, I think, for the Nintendo Switch. People like that idea. Oh, I can take my Nintendo games with me, or I can play them on the TV. You know what I mean? But you couldn't take it far. So, you know, I'm hoping that that they're going to come out with some announcements this E3. So I like the Switch. Rich, Crackdown 3 was it? Here's the thing, Rich. Crackdown 3 is not a great game. It's a okay game. It's fun, but it's not great, right? Like I just got to be. It's not great at all. No, it's not. Not really much I can say about it other than it's not great. Um, Given the amount of development time, it's easy to say, hey, I expected a little bit more with that. For me personally, I expected more, but I don't think it's terrible. I just think that it's not great, and it could have definitely been much better. Man, God of War just won a bunch of new game awards. Man, that's awesome to hear. I heard that Forza Horizon 4 also won an award on there as well. So hey, I'm very interesting to see how that works out as well. I love like hearing all the leaks and stuff. I know like some people don't like it, right? Like you can go to like different sites and even the Reddits and you can see people quote unquote leaking or an insider, and sometimes they're wrong, they're right. More often than not, they're wrong. A lot of people don't cover them. I cover them because what the hell? That's what we do, right? Like to me, the most exciting stuff is the potential for these leaks and things like that. So I love the fact that that we get so many of these lately. Like I'm excited by that stuff. So for me personally, I'll always be excited by these little leaks or the potential for leaks and things like that. It's always like I'm a fan of the industry. So when you see stuff like what happened with BioWare, which I'm sure you guys are kind of aware, BioWare had that article from Kotaku that came out that was talking about the state of that, the piss poor state of BioWare, basically, um, and how that engine that EA forces everybody to use, Frostbite engine, just really hampers what they're doing. And that sort of goes along with Amy Hennig, what she said. She was making that Star Wars game, and it was going to be the Uncharted of Star Wars games, apparently. And, um, you know, and she had said, yeah, it was very difficult to make that game work on the Frostbite engine. So realistically, when you look at what these developers are being forced to do, I feel bad for them. I feel incredibly bad for them. I think that um, it's a it's an incredible thing. You know what I mean? That this company EA has so many potentially great franchises they could be making, right? And they've totally dropped the ball this generation. Battlefield 4 was much more fun than any of the Battlefields they've released this gen. And I know they released out in this gen, but I think it was like, didn't they release it on the 360 and PS3 as well? So that to me was much better. The Bad Company games came out last gen as well. They had good Need for Speed games last gen, not so much this gen. There's no like their NBA game sucks. Madden is Madden. I play it. It's okay. I'd really like this last one, but at the same time, you know, they really need some competition there. And then they got like the hockey games and stuff. Like I guess those are good. I'm not really a hockey guy, but I get it. I understand what these companies are doing. I just think for me personally, it's like the company that's dropped the ball even worse than Microsoft is this company who has had the Star Wars license, right? And has only produced 2 games so far. Like that, and they're both Battlefront games. And I don't know. So yeah, I do think that um, you know, that's going to be very, very interesting. I'm pissed because I wanted good Star Wars games. I would love great Star Wars games. We got some more questions in there because I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about. That BioWare stuff really kind of pissed me off because I'm such a big fan of theirs, and the fact that they went ahead and launched Anthem despite the fact that it not having any content, like one mission or whatever, basically. Yeah, that bummed me out. I'm the first to admit that. So yeah, pretty much pissed off about that. Oh, I also like that Sega Genesis Mini as well. That thing looks pretty sick. That's how you do nostalgia, folks. Not the way not the way that Sony tried to do it. I think Sony kind of dropped the ball with how they did it. Hey, let's get 150 likes. I'd really appreciate it. Please hit the like button, share it out, all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Sport Movement says playing Sekiro now. Love it. I hear a lot of good things about it. Gamer Dad says, Crapgamer, I like your stuff, but damn, you've been hard on Xbox recently. Criticism is all good, but damn. Dude, here's the thing. I don't know if you have the ability to do this. Go play some PlayStation 4 exclusives and then go play the most recent Xbox exclusives and see the difference there, and then tell me that this doesn't seem like the generation that Xbox forgot, right? Like it just seems like that to me. And I've spent maybe I probably spent more. Probably, and it seems almost like a lot of it's a waste, right? I get like the third party stuff's not a waste, but here's the thing: I bought an Xbox One at launch, which was $500. I bought multiple S's, multiple X's, over $2,000 in hardware this generation. I have over 800 Xbox games installed on my 2 external hard drives, which the external hard drives combined cost me, I think, $300 themselves. I have 2 Elite controllers, right? So when you look at $3,000, $3,500 worth of stuff that I've spent on Xbox this generation, and the exclusive content just hasn't been there, yeah, I guess I've been a little bit hard. And now that the generation's over, I'm looking back and I'm going, well, what the hell was that all about? So I'm sorry if it seems like I'm a little bit hard. I want them to do better. That's what it's all about, right? Like, you got so many of these other YouTubers out there, and I'm just going to be honest, not a knock on anyone in particular, because this is a bunch of them. Just positive, positive, positive. Everything Xbox does is great, 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 great. That's not going to change things. That's not going to get games better. That's not going to do anything. You got to get out there and you got to be honest with yourself, and you got to be honest with the fans. And sure, if I sit there and said every move Microsoft is making is the perfect move and the great and the bestest move ever, I could get more subscribers. I could get more views. But guess what? I would have to sell out, and I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Microsoft has messed up. They've not delivered the content that we deserved. What the hell did they spend that $1 billion on when they talked about it at the beginning of the generation? Because it surely wasn't the content. I mean, they had some good content at the start of the generation. Look at the first year, right? No wonder I want Xbox. Like, throw out all the DRM and all this BS, right? Microsoft launched with Forza 5, Dead Rising 3, which was the best Dead Rising in my opinion, Rise, Son of Rome, very underrated but graphically impressive. They had stuff like Zoo Tycoon, Killer Instinct. A few months later, they came out with Titanfall. They also had Sunset Overdrive, the Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 4. That's like 10 exclusives within the first not even year of the game being out, and they were fantastic games. I mean, some of them didn't score well, but really great games, and that's what I wanted, right? So that's what I expected. They sort of like fool you with that, and then after that, they gave us literally nothing, next to nothing, like unbelievably. So yeah, I'm a little bit pissed off. Spider Silva says Days Gone looks better than Xbox's whole 2017, 2018. I'm with you. I actually am sitting on a video pretty much titled that I haven't released yet, because I feel like, I'm waiting till E3 before I do anything rash. But for me personally, this E3 is make or break, and I'll be the first to say that during the show, after the show. If Microsoft comes out and just blows smoke and refuses to show us anything new, I'm not talking about Halo and Gears, because good Lord, I like those games, but come on, give us something new. If you look at what Sony's offering at the end of the generation, 3 new IP, do something. Why not announce a new IP? Come on, man. Show us something. Get us excited. I'm not sure another Halo or another Gears is going to get people or the masses excited or jump on board for an Xbox One this late in the game. Because you know what? The Xbox One sales have already fallen flat. They're like, the rumor is right now that the March Xbox One sales were some of the worst in the history of Xbox One. Hey, I pre-ordered the collector's edition of Days Gone, so I'm excited about that. These fans don't understand that constructive criticism makes a brand better. You have to be speaking facts. Xbox One this gen has been awful. All you mentioned were from Don Matrick. Exactly, right? That's my point, right? I think Phil has a little bit different idea, and the CEO, and their idea is more about streaming and putting everything on everything, and that's not exactly what I want. I don't care that they do that, by the way, because as long as they're putting out an Xbox platform, I can still play all my games there as well. So I'm like, I can continue to do that and will continue to do that. I'm just saying, for me personally, you have to complain. You have to, as consumers, be honest with yourself first and foremost, and then with the brand. I'm not bashing Xbox and going, oh man, I'm hating Xbox, I'm leaving Xbox forever. That's not me. There's probably people out there that do that. I'm just saying, I'm more apt to spend more time on PlayStation next gen if they're the ones putting out quality exclusives, and if we have to wait, you know, even longer. Think about this. And when I mentioned this number, people like scratch their head a bit. The last new IP, AAA exclusive or console exclusive that Microsoft announced was 4 years ago. 2015, they announced Sea of Thieves. That's a big, I mean, I guess you AAA game, new IP from one of their internal studios. That was their last new game that they announced. That to me is unacceptable. The fact that we've kind of been so apathetic and we're so accepting of no games, no new IP, nothing pushing the industry forward. And I know they have new studios, and I'd like to point this out. I'm very excited about Playground Games. I'm very excited about Ninja Theory. I'm very excited about the initiative because I think they're going to come out with some interesting stuff. I think Obsidian is a dark horse. I think they can do some incredible things, but they're caught up in this Outer Worlds thing. If this game is a success, is the sequel going to be exclusive, console exclusive? Are they going to be working on a game that's going to go on PlayStation if they make a sequel? Like, that's my question. Will we ever see a game from Obsidian that's console exclusive? Like, that's a real worry, right? Like, if you don't have that worry, I don't know what to say. They might have 4 teams. 2 of the teams are working on something, sketching out stuff. They might never see the light of day. Most of the teams are combined working on Outer Worlds, which is a multi-plat. When are we going to get to see some of this stuff, the dividends as Xbox fans? That's my question. We're in 2019. What, 4 or 5 years from now? Like, is that really what we want? I think we deserve something a little bit before that point, and hopefully we get that because I feel like we definitely deserve it. So, you know, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. So, I do have both consoles. I actually have all 3. You know, so that's my hope anyway. Vicky29 says, is there hope crap because they know well for sure it'll make or break E3? They've got the stage to themselves and no way they can miss out. Show us all they've got to show it. They've got to show it. They've got to get out there. They've got to show people that they have games. I think that if they want to, here's the thing. Like I said, you got to do it this year. You've got to show the dreams. You got to do what Sony does, right? Because next year Sony's going to show Spider-Man 2, God of War 2, Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. They're going to go all out. Sony's going to have buku games, right, to show off and announce their PS5. If Microsoft is still talking about Halo freaking Infinite and Battletoads, what's going to happen, right? Like, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be ugly next generation. It's going to be ugly. I'm just saying. Like, you guys can sit there and go to the YouTubers you want and let them coddle you and tell you every move Microsoft makes is great and it's all for the better and all this stuff. If it were true that Microsoft were 100% for the player and giving us choices, then wouldn't they surely let us play free-to-play games online for free or let Xbox fans, we're the only ones paying to play online anymore. Like, the PC people aren't, the people that are going to be streaming games won't be. We're the only ones, right? So I think people can kind of stuff that whole idea that Microsoft is so consumer friendly and put that aside in the BS file, because until Microsoft comes out and does those things, I think it's just nonsense. I think the things that Microsoft does is to make them more money, right? Not to really be as consumer friendly as people think. They had no choice to do some of it, but to do some of the stuff that they've done this generation, and that's been more than obvious. So, let's see. I love Battletoads. Hey, I love Battletoads too, man. I'm excited for Battletoads. I'm just saying, for me personally, it's not a AAA game, right? Like, it's just not a AAA game. Hopefully, we can see some AAA games. We need some big games coming from Microsoft. So, yeah, but they're all for-profit companies, though, right? They're all for profit. That's the thing. Hey, if you guys are just joining me, please hit the like button, share it out. I'm going to be taking questions and stuff like that. True Witty says, Crapgamer, what's your thoughts on Xbox and PlayStation next gen along with Stadia? I hate that service. I am not for streaming games. I feel like if you support that, you're supporting the death of consoles. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. The death of consoles is basically it, you know? if you support that, you're supporting the death of consoles 100%. That's there's no other way to say it. Reclaimer says no companies do things that will cost them money without potential future benefits. Microsoft isn't any different than the other gaming companies. Reclaimer, I'll agree with you, and now I'll pull a mooch. Let me tell you why you're wrong. Because Sony keeps supporting VR, right? And that's just a small niche thing. And they also support single-player games, which people say are dying, right? Microsoft, when was the last time they put out a single-player only game? Right? I think it was Recore, and they invested all of $2.50 into the budget. So yeah, I think that it's pretty clear that Sony takes way more risks and tries to do things. Microsoft will claim that they're trying to do stuff to move the industry forward, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, are they really? Sir X-Man says, hey, crap, do you think he blew it by not making Burnout the way we wanted it, and the new game coming out tomorrow, Dangerous Driving, gave us what we wanted? Dangerous Driving looks sick, and I think that you have to listen to fans. If fans want a more traditional Burnout, give it to them. If fans want Fable, give it to them. If fans want to play as Master Chief more and don't care about these other characters, give it to them. If fans want to play as Marcus Phoenix, give it to them, right? Like that, they're consumers. Give it to them. Why do I say streaming is the death of consoles? Because what happens is we're going to go into a thing called streaming fatigue, Richard. Basically, what happens is, and it's already happening to me, and it's not even video games. I personally can't stream a video game because I don't have good enough internet. But even if I did, right, I don't want to subscribe to Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, EA, Microsoft, whoever else, right? I don't want to have to subscribe to 15 different streaming services, right? Because these companies want their own, they want to cut out the middleman, right? And I think that that's something that would be detrimental towards console gaming. Next doc says, I believe that Phil is going to focus hard on streaming at this year's E3 because of Stadia, which will infuriate me. I want Fable on new AAA IP. If he focuses on streaming and that kind of crap, I don't even know what to say, man. I'll be so pissed. Hold on. Neverland says, crap, let's say in a strange realm, PS5 and Xbox Anaconda have the same caliber exclusives. Would Anaconda have to be cheaper than PS5 to get market share back? It would have to be cheaper, but they would also need like some amazing exclusives. Like they would have to score well. I know people say Metacritic doesn't matter, but Metacritic does matter in a way because people are going to look at those scores and then think it's a good game and buy a good game. If you see a 50 rated game, nobody's going to buy it. Crackdown proved it. It's not as bad as the scores prove or show, but people avoided that game like the plague. Reclaimer says, yeah, they take risks because those risks have potential payoff. Sony has shut down servers for Drive Club and other. I agree with you, man. Sony does that, and it does piss me off. Like, if you guys didn't know, Drive Club is getting delisted due to licenses reasons, and servers are going down next year. Is being delisted for licensing reason. It's a standard practice according to the industry because it's a 5-year deal, so you got to buy it now before it's gone. But that's the reason why the older Forza games aren't backwards compatible for the most part, because you have to be able to have the music and all that, and the cars and the parts. That stuff you get licenses for at 5-year clips, and they run out. So yeah, the game's going to be delisted August 31st, and the servers are going to go offline March 31st of next year, which is very much kind of annoying. Sir X Man says, love your crap. Leave Luca alone, my friend. Nah, Luca's great. She's fantastic. She's had a birthday. I think she's a funny, awesome person, man. I love having her on the podcast and stuff like that. So, God of War, dude, I don't think God of War is overrated. I think, yeah. Hey, listen, Drive Club did suck. I admit that. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Please like the video real quick. God of War was amazing, and it really kind of grips you right from the beginning, right? I've never been attached to a game that was able to do that so quickly, and that game was able to accomplish that, and just absolutely kind of blew my mind. And I'm just so amazed at what a fantastic job they did with that game. Like, it deserves all the praise that it got. I'm not saying that, other games don't deserve praise or equal or whatever. I'm just saying that that game was absolutely amazing, and they did a fantastic job with it. And I can't believe, it's easy to go if you're just an Xbox fan and you hate PlayStation. I used to do that, guys. I was that guy. I didn't give PlayStation games a chance because I was so Xbox, and I got tired of the hate for being an Xbox guy. So I guess some of that's on them and some of that's on me, right? But if like that's why I'm going back now, and I'm going to play The Last of Us with a clear mind and just see if I can enjoy it for what it is, not being a quote unquote Xbox guy or a PlayStation hater, and see what's up. I'm going to see. I went back and played Spider-Man. That game's better than any of the Batman Arkham games, right? They took what Batman Arkham games did and expanded on that in such a way that I didn't think possible. And it's really fun. Yes, it's repetitive, but I've been playing through like the DLC on that, which I skipped and I'm going back on, and it's really amazing how great that game is. Neverland says it's a wrap for Xbox if they talk any more than 3 minutes for streaming. I agree, and keep Julia Hardy far, far away from the screen when they're showing off that stuff. True Witty says, Crap Gamer, who do you think is looking forward to the fans more, PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo? I don't know. I think that Xbox fans are looking more for E3 because this has to be it, right? For the last few E3, we've like, wait till E3, this has got to be the E3, right? Supposedly Phil signed deals 3 years ago, and he said we were not going to talk about those deals until there's something to talk about. So hopefully we get that stuff this year. If they don't, I feel bad for Microsoft because they're going to lose the hardcore gamers that they have left. Bloodborne is still very active online, more than any Xbox game. Well, I don't know. I haven't played that game. Maybe I'll boot it up. I got it for free. I'll boot. I can't possibly think I'd beat it or it'd be my type of game. I'm gonna boot it up. I'm gonna try it, man. That's the new Crap Gamer, man. I'm gonna try that game and see what it is. Are you happy as I am that dude? I was so happy that Brock Lesnar lost. Right? Like I wish he would have lost to my favorite wrestler is Braun Strowman. I know it's kind of controversial. Braun Strowman did win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale or whatever, which I think is cool because it made him look strong and tough, and he looks ripped. I mean, that guy looks better than ever right now, to be honest with you. And he's picked up some new moves and stuff. But I am happy that Brock lost. I love WrestleMania. I thought it was the best one in years. Right from start to finish. I was a little bit underwhelmed with the main event, the women's. I thought they could have done that better. There was kind of a lot of botches in that. I actually thought the Daniel Bryan Kofi Kingston title match was much better, and that probably should have been the main event. But give them props for whatever, trying something new. Yeah, hopefully. The last two E3s for Xbox were great. It's sad how bad Sony's was and still more popular. It kind of tell you that E3 might not matter. Steven Roush, listen, I agree. Xbox had some really solid E3s, but not from an exclusive standpoint. Right? Like that's where my kind of complaint comes in. Crap said, Sir X-Man says, crap, I can still play Project Gotham Racing, Forza 2 and 3 and 4 on 360. Yep. I agree. You can still do that. That is amazing. Forza Horizon and Horizon 2 have been delisted, but servers are up and we can still play them. Sterling says, hey, Crap, are you from Maryland? Yes, I am from, actually, I was born in Baltimore, and I am a Marylander. So, yeah, that's where I'm from, man. That's exactly where I'm from. So, Jared says, oh, somebody made me lose all my Xbox interest when he came up with that trash Halo Gears, and I don't know anything about that, man. I don't really get a chance to watch much YouTube. Like I listen to it a lot. I listen to some podcasts in the car on the way when I go to work and stuff. So that's the time that I get to catch up and stuff. But most of the time, if people dislike me, I won't watch their stuff. So you know what I mean? Most people, they don't even reach out to me. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like nobody's ever like, hey, this or this. Let's just just talk bad about this or that. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I don't know. It's always kind of fun. You know what? I also am kind of excited to try out this Kingdom Hearts or this Shenmue 3. I think that's releasing soon, right? So yeah, I know who you're talking about, Jared. I just don't watch his stuff, Name one exclusive the X has taken advantage of. I can't. Maybe Forza Horizon 4. They give you a 60 frames per second option, but it's only 1080p. R. Rob says, was there no MNC show yesterday? No, my car broke down. My starter went out. It's getting fixed. So yeah, I missed it. Hey, what's up, Foxy? There she is. Yeah, I hardly ever get to talk to Foxy anymore. She's busy. She's too busy for us peasants. She can't be a bit bothered with doing Xbox Nation or talking to me. Yeah, we used to talk all the time. Now we don't. What's up, everybody? Hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. I don't think Gears 4 was horrible. I think that the DB bots was a mistake, and I'm not sure that I would have rather played as Marcus, get the old crew together. Like, the best part for me was the ending when the old crew got together. We all wanted the crew to come together, so I think that's what a lot of people wanted. And the fact that they didn't was a bit disappointing at the end of the day. But still, I enjoyed it and the multiplayer was really good. Sully! What's up, Sully? Have I played Sekiro? No, that's not my type of game. I hear it's very difficult. Not that I'm against difficult games. For me personally, playing a game like that, I don't have time right now. But maybe I'll play Ghost of Tsushima. That seems like it's going to be a more traditional, less difficult hack and slash game. Maybe it'll be amazing. I don't know. Hopefully we get to see more about that at one of their shows this year or something like that, because I think we deserve to see something new from it. It'd be awesome. Sorry, Foxy. I'm just kidding. Just jokes. Hashtag jokes. Oh, there's Sully. Oh, you were driving and then you're back. Yeah, man, I was bummed out that I missed MNC yesterday. I messaged them last minute, like, I'm not gonna be home. I didn't even make it home till like 1:30. And then I was like hot because it's like right now in Florida, we're almost 90 degrees where I'm at already. And so it felt like you're getting breathed on by like 10 Labrador retrievers. And so I was like, holy crap, this is really bad. And I'm hot and tired and I don't really want to, podcast right now. So I think we're going to do a MNC Thursday to make up for it. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of podcasting this week. So hopefully we get a lot more game news and a lot more interesting stuff to talk about, because I would like to get everybody's opinion on like the EA stuff, the BioWare stuff, this crossplay stuff, the award stuff, Microsoft E3, because believe it or not, 2.5 months away from E3, make or break, in my opinion, from Microsoft for a lot of people. How many times can we say, wait till next E3? I think that Sony's kind of crouching down and then they're going to leap. And they're going to leap with a ton of great exclusives. And Microsoft needs to have something there ready the year before. They got to pull their old strategy that they did with the 360, where they showed off Gears of War, and that trumped anything that Sony had on their PS3 that they were showing off, and people got excited about the platform. If you don't get people excited about your platform, I don't really know this, I don't know what really to say. You got to get people excited and happy. Let's see. Do I play Overwatch? No, actually, I've played it a little bit, but not too much. Game Pass rocks. I play tons of games. I think Game Pass is a great service. I just think for me personally, it doesn't make much sense since I get most of the games and I buy them anyway. So yeah, like I do think that it's a fantastic service and there's a hell of a audience there. I just don't think that it's a great service for me personally. So I could definitely see why, if they start coming out with exclusives every other month and they're good, then I think, wow, maybe. Yeah. Hey, I don't, listen, if they want to put an easy mode in, whatever, I don't care. Here's the thing. I've beaten games before where there's no mode to choose from, man. I just go through and play it, and that's fine. I tend to, for purposes of being a YouTuber and not having as much time as I used to, I tend to play games on easy or normal, depending on what type of game it is. I'm not really looking for a challenge as I get in my 30s, my mid upper 30s. I'm not really interested in that challenge. You know, I want to play through a game, get a good story. If I'm playing multiplayer, that's challenging enough because you're playing against other people. So yeah, you know, I hear it's a great game because Mooch and everybody's telling me what a great game it is. Maybe when it's on sale one of these days, I'll pick it up and play through a little bit so I get frustrated and break a controller or something. But for me, and the most part, you know, I'm just not really that interested in those type of games. You know, I hear great things though. People are saying game of the year. So I don't know what to see about that. Very interested to see how that kind of plays out. But you know, I'm very interested to see what Microsoft has to bring this E3. I think just like you guys think, it's make or break, man. I don't care how staunch of an Xbox supporter you are. If they come out of this E3 without announcing something brand new, a lot of people are going to be unhappy. I would love to see some of the damage control from these Xbox YouTubers that do nothing but positive Xbox news all the time, no matter what it is. It's great news, right? Like, how do you, great news, Xbox E3, Microsoft wins again. They nailed it, right? I mean, they didn't announce anything new, but we did get new hardware announcement. You like, this is funny. They would have announced, if they announced both their pieces of hardware this E3, they would have announced more hardware in the last 3 years than freaking new exclusives. More hardware than exclusives. How is that okay, folks? Give me a hell yeah if you think you're wondering what the hell. Because how is that okay, right? How are they going to announce more hardware over the last 3 years than exclusives? Come on. And I'm talking AAA exclusives, man. I don't care about those indie things. Come on, man. It's crazy. How? How is that okay with any Xbox fan? Right? I'm just saying. How is that okay? Like, they announced the S and the X, and now they're probably going to announce an Anaconda and a Lockhart and probably a streaming device. That's 5 freaking consoles or pieces of hardware. And how many exclusives has we had in that amount of time? Because you got to remember, Crackdown 3 was announced in 2014. Sea of Thieves was announced in 2015. We get a Forza game every year except for this year, apparently. So, like, honestly, we're getting more hardware announcements than software. It's ridiculous. You got to have stuff on there to play, and they've had nothing but lackluster stuff. And State of Decay 2 sucks. Sully, I'm sorry, man, but that is horrible. What's up, crap? How much do you think the new Anaconda Xbox will be? Okay, don't hate me on this. I think Anaconda is going to be $599. And the reason why I think it's going to be $599 is probably going to be shocking, which is the fact that this console is supposed to come out next year, right? So think about this. We're in 2019, almost at the halfway point, right? And Xbox One X, although you can get deals for it, is still $499, and that's a 4K machine. Supposedly, this Xbox Anaconda is more than twice the power of the X. It's going to do 4K 60 on like everything, or what, pretty close to it. And yet people think it's going to be only $500. I think it's going to be $600. And I think Microsoft doesn't care if you buy it. That's the main thing, right? They're going to have Lockhart for you, or you can continue playing on your X. Like, I think you're going to be able to play the new games on your X for a while anyway. So, or the PC, or stream it. Like, Microsoft literally do not care how you play their games. So if they come out with this extremist option, and, you know, people will buy it, like some people will, but they don't care if you buy that or the Lockhart. They're not going to care. So, yeah. I think Anaconda is going to be $599. I think the PlayStation 5 is going to possibly be $499 or $399. I think it's probably going to be $399. But you might get $499 depending on which way they go. And then I think you're going to have Lockhart at $399, and then you might have a different PlayStation 5 at $399 as well. So depending on how they decide to do it. But either way, I think Microsoft just doesn't really care about if you buy that console, because there's going to be other options. And that's going to be interesting. I mean, if you think about it, a 4K 60 machine for $599 is an incredible deal, right? But I just bought a 4K machine from them a few years ago, and they didn't come out with any software for it. Like, you know, give me something that shows it off. And now my worry right? And I don't mean to put all my worries out there and make it seem like I'm totally bashing Xbox, but my worry is this, right? When you go and play on a base PS4, I played the original, the Uncharted 4, right? Game looks amazing. It still looks amazing. If you play God of War on a base PS4, what is that, like 1.8 T flops or 1.7 T flops? It looks amazing. Those graphics look better than the exclusive graphics of anything on the Xbox One X, despite it being 6 T flops. My worry is Microsoft is so worried about getting their games working on everything, a phone, a watch, a refrigerator, that they are not going to be taking full advantage of the hardware anyway. Plus, I think, foolishly, they're going to want these games to work on the original Xbox One model, the Xbox One S, because they might come out with a discless Xbox One S as well. And they're not just going to stop production of this thing a year later. So they're going to have games that work on it. So I don't know. Like, I'm not excited by that prospect. Next generation is next generation for me. I'm not excited by the stuff being held back. On the PlayStation 5, those exclusives are going to look amazing, and they're going to take full advantage of what that console can do, right? That's just going to be amazing. uh so hey, shout out to my baby. She's watching. I guess she thought she didn't I didn't tell her that I was podcasting, and she's like, she mentions to me, uh Xbox S, Xbox X, Xbox Anaconda. Seriously, how do you not get the sexual innuendos? I have never thought about Xboxes as being sexual innuendo, so I don't know. But that's a good one. I'm not really sure. I just see people in the chat are like, hey, like, here's the thing. I don't want to spend another $600 for something if they're not going to have content that really shows it off. And I know the third party stuff will look great, but I have to be honest with you guys. I've been buying some third party stuff on the PS4 Pro that's been on sale recently. And yeah, it's hard to tell a huge difference between most games, to be honest with you. There's a handful of games where there's a huge difference. But for the most part, it seems like the developers cater to PlayStation anyway, and they'll continue to do that. So I think next generation, even if the Anaconda is more expensive and more powerful, I feel like the PlayStation 5 isn't going to be that far behind, and we're not going to see that big of a difference. And so I really do feel like, it's not going to be a huge difference, and we're going to be seeing, it's going to come down to the games and the exclusives and stuff like that. So TLR9 says next gen, there'll barely be any difference. I'm agreeing with you. If people are hanging their hat on ray tracing, I can tell you this, man. I don't even know what to say about that, man. Like, I thought it was ridiculous when we were getting 1080p versus 900p comparisons, and people were like, look, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference, right? There's just not going to be a huge difference. They're both going to be 4K. They're both going to have 60. That's going to be, about it as far as I'm concerned. Jay White says, do you think there will be a mid-gen console this time around? There might be, but I think both companies are going to release the mid-gen console at the same time as the launch one this time. And I do think that we will see another console after that, but it's hard telling because we got mid-gen consoles to accommodate 4K, which 4K isn't even 50% saturation yet, and I don't see 8K being picked up anytime in the next 10 years, like the mainstream anyway. So is there really a need to upgrade to an 8K machine? I don't know. They might upscale anyway, so it'll be hard saying how it's going to work out. So 9 Live says crap is too negative. Microsoft is going to be fine. 9 Lives 210. I never said Microsoft wouldn't be fine. I said that the Xbox is going to get their ass handed to them by the PlayStation 5. But I don't think that they're not going to be fine because they obviously are making money. They own Minecraft. They're publishing games on Switch. They're publishing games on everything. They're streaming things. So Sir X-Man says, hey, crap, give it to Luca. Actually, he says, crap, I think Microsoft is going to go future-proof for the next 5 to 6 years. I agree. It makes the most sense, in my opinion, to have a console that can, do what they wanted to do for the next 5 or 6 years and then just come out with the new one. I think if we would have got consoles that we should have gotten this generation, where we could have got 1080p 60, we wouldn't have got mid-gen upgrades, and we would have gotten and we would have gotten wouldn't have gotten the mid-gen upgrades, you know. So yeah, for me personally, anyway. Oh, what the hell is that? Oh, okay, never mind. Fucking damn, a spider jump on me. Whew, man, where did that even come from, man? A spider. Okay, anyway, so Goat G says, I love PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch. They all have good games. I got the best of all three companies. I agree. I bought all three. So now Truth says, what's the point of buying Microsoft and Sony's garbage if Stadia drops? Now Truth, what happens when Stadia closes down their servers, bro? What happens if you don't have a constant internet connection? Right? Like you don't own your games. It's a, you know, like here's the thing. If I'm watching my favorite movie's on Netflix, and it's not a Netflix original, that might not be there all the time, and I might still have to buy that movie. So yeah. Do I have any Xbox Live codes? Nope, I don't have any. I pretty much I'm all out of that stuff. Fable would get me super excited about Xbox. I'm going to be 100% real. They announced Fable, a couple new IPs. I'm good, right? Next Doc says, crap, how can Xbox actually succeed in the home console space when they ignore their biggest competitor? Man, I'm telling you, this is my biggest question. How can you ignore it? I don't really know. You know, hey, hit the like button, guys. Maybe we get up to 175 before I end this bunk. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep talking till we get to 175 likes. Woo! It's gonna be great. I'm amazing. I'm the best. I'm crap gamer. Yeah, rack them up. Yeah. I can, you know, be that old asshole crap gamer. Hey, why don't you get back to me when you're not flipping burgers at McDonald's, eh? Yeah, kick it out wide. No, they're making a new Fable. So, well, Playground Games is anyway. So I'm excited to see how that turns out, man. If it's true and this new rumor is saying that it is, and we get a brand new Fable, and they show it off at this E3, I'll be like, holy crap, Microsoft's taking it for real. If they decide to hold off again, what are they waiting for? Right? That's my question. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for Sony to show off, you know, Spider-Man 2, God of War 2, The Last of Us 6? Like, what the hell are you waiting for? Like, there's a time you got to jump, you know, crap, or get off the pot. That's what I always say. You know, you got to get out there and kind of be proactive if you're Microsoft. And so far, they haven't really done a good job at that. And I'm a little bit disappointed. The most thing that I'm disappointed in for Microsoft is the fact that they continually just are held back by previous mistakes, right? So you messed up and you announced the game too soon. Big deal. That doesn't mean that all of them are going to be doing that. You know, you can still you can still you know, show people some games and get people excited. You know, that's my main thing, right? Like, okay, you announced some stuff, you lost your funding for whatever reason, even though you're Microsoft. But at the end of the day, you got to give people a reason to get excited. Could you imagine if Netflix or a TV station, let's say Fox or ABC, right? And they're like, we want you to watch our shows, but we're not going to tell you what our shows are because we don't want to give it away too early, right? Like, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? Have you noticed they announced Marvel movies and these like years in advance, right? Because they want people to get hyped up and excited about their stuff. Microsoft has not given anybody a reason to get excited, and that's just a fact. And I'm sorry if you disagree, but it's 100% fact. They've done a really piss poor job. Oh, when are we gonna get a game review? Oh, man, let me think. What game is coming out? I'm gonna do a Days Gone game review, 100% for sure on that. Worrywart, what's up, Worrywart? You buff mf'er. He says the new Sony Nintendo guy. I don't know, Worry. Like, you've said a lot of this stuff years ago too, man. I just think that Microsoft has an idea that's different than what I'm for. And I think Sony's going to do it too. I just think Sony has better games, to be quite honest with you, man. I've been playing more and more of their games, Worry. Spider-Man, I've been playing through the DLC, gave it a second chance. That game looks amazing. It's fluid. It's better than any of the Arkham games. I played God of War again, or like I'll just continue doing some side stuff. Amazing. fantastic. I played through Detroit some more. Holy crap, that game's so amazing. Uncharted is amazing. Even Horizon Zero Dawn looks so good and so polished. I can't get into it because I think the voice acting is bad and the story isn't great. But still, that world, that polish, it's all there. And when I go back and play the Xbox exclusive like State of Decay 2, Sully, I don't see how you put so much time into that. But holy crap, just not good in comparison. They just feel like last gen games a lot of the time, or like double A games. Um, let's see. Xbox sold 9,000 units in March. I would hope that it was more than that. Baby D says, crap, any news on how much Xbox SAD may cost? If it's cheap, I just may get that, and Game Pass give me access to the exclusives. I won't worry about online. Just stick with PlayStation. I don't know. I'm hearing 199, right? So, basically, what I've been hearing is this: you're going to see a price drop on the S to 249.99 because it's not officially there yet, and then the SAD edition is going to be 199, and then I think the X might get a $50 price drop as well. So, I really think it's going to be good. Dang, Sully, how do you put 530 hours in the State of Decay 2? How? You're going to have to show me what I'm doing wrong, man. I'm going to have to invite you into my game or something, and I don't know, show me what to do. The guy's pissing the Cheerios, and I lose my foodstuffs, and then a horde attacks, and yeah, it's just bad. Yeah, the SAD edition is the Xbox One S all digital. So yeah, that's what it is. It's the SAD edition for the sad folk that like all digital. Like I like digital. Like I do mostly pretty much 100% all digital now, but at the same time, I make sure that you know, that I still have and collect like the collector's editions of stuff. So yeah, hopefully we continue to sort of get those things and we can continue to get them in the future, because I think that what Microsoft has been able to do is, even being in the race this late is good. But the fact is now we're starting to see Sony kind of run away with it. And if Sony announces even more exclusives, wow, I could just imagine that kind of um, not going well for Microsoft going into the next generation. I do think that Sony is going to have a lot of games to announce and a lot going for them. So yeah, I mean, those games that they have are so quality. Let's just be real. The quality of those PS4 exclusives have been so on point. It's been unbelievable. So, um, let's see. For the sake of my $50, I'd rather have the Ultra Blu-ray drive. Yeah, why wouldn't you want to have the option, you know what I mean, to play that, especially if they're only going to cut $50 out? Like, let's be honest, $50 is not a big deal, and those drives don't even cost $50. So there must be other cost-cutting measures that they've included. And if it's true that they're not even including Game Pass in this, it's such a fail, in my opinion. Sir X-Man says, crap, if Sony does not have backwards compatibility in the PS5, it's going to hurt them. Sir X-Man, from everything that I've heard, and not just me, but rumors that other people have reported on too. So this isn't a Crapgamer specific rumor, but multiple ones, multiple patent filings and things like this. Sony 100% will have backwards compatibility with the PS4. Some of their patents are even for backwards compatibility with other generations like PS1, 2, and 3, with the possibility that they do upscaling and stuff at the core of the emulation, meaning sort of like how Microsoft does it when they've enhanced their 360 titles to 4K or whatever. Like, supposedly Sony has a way to do that as well. So if Sony has a way to get backwards compatibility with all their previous PlayStation games, that's going to be huge for them. It'll at the very least have PS4 backwards compatibility. Excuse me. Where do you think the next Assassin's Creed will take place? Didn't the leak just come out for that, you guys? They says they're going to be Vikings or something, right? Here, I'll read this to you guys right now. Assassin's Creed series next game reportedly Viking themed. It says the next Assassin's Creed game might be Viking themed. The report comes from Kotaku, who claims to have received confirmation of the Viking focus for 2 separate Ubisoft sources a few months back. The North's Assassin's Creed is said to be codenamed Kingdom and will come out in 2020. As they've already announced, there's no major Assassin's Creed game this year. And apparently there's a tease for it in the Division 2. There's this part in there where a poster featuring what appears to be a Viking warrior and the word Valhalla, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it looks like he's holding the he's actually holding the Apple of Eden from the Assassin's Creed games. If you guys are all into Assassin's Creed, you'll probably know that that's what it is. So I think that'd be pretty cool and a logical step. I like those series, but I haven't even been able to play Odyssey. I started it and then never was able to actually get around to finishing it. So, yeah, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how that sort of plays out. Like I said, I'm very excited by what the future has in store for Microsoft and things like that, and this Assassin's Creed series as well. Not having one this year kind of sucks, but whatever. Kill Fusion says, crap, what's your opinion of other Xbox YouTubers that used to be all about Microsoft but now see Sony's worth? I think, and I kind of explained this earlier, I think that even like me, like I'm like, hey, I'm getting an Xbox One, and I could only get one at the time. And I was all about the games. Killer Instinct sold me. Titanfall sold me. Sunset Overdrive sold me. Forza sold me. Dead Rising, Rise, all those games that launched sold me. And within that first launch year, and Sony's games did. So I'm like, I'm going to get an Xbox. I got so much hate for that. So naturally you go into this mode where you're kind of defending it and stuff like that. The trick is not getting too caught up into defending everything, because you have to have some sort of, you have to give them some kind of feedback that not everything is just great and not everything is what you want, right? Like there's, at the end of the day, they still cater to us. So if we don't want streaming as our only option, we speak with our wallets and we won't have streaming as an only option. So it really comes down to what we want as fans. Next doc says, if PlayStation reveals full backwards compatibility and forward compatibility next gen, along with a lot of the sequels, like you mentioned, Xbox could be done. I don't think PlayStation will be forward compatible. I think backwards compatible for sure. True Witty says, I don't think developers cared to PlayStation more. I think they cater to has more consoles for fans. I think that you're a little bit right. It's both. I think that but I do actually think that what happens is Sony has more connections, being around longer in the industry. So I think that that's actually a bit of a thing as well. So we'll have to see how that sort of plays out. You know, Microsoft knows what they're doing. I hope that they pay attention, because I know previously they have not, and I feel like that's a bit of a bummer. They definitely needed to pay attention and sort of and listen to what fans wanted, because I feel like sometimes they don't, and they get this own idea in their head about what everybody wants, and it's not what people want. So hopefully we see something come about from that. Hey, crap, Microsoft already won E3. That's what you think. That's what you think, right? If they drop an egg, right, people are going to go, hey, Sony managed to win without even being there. I could write the headlines. In fact, if they suck, I'm going to write it, and I'm going to say, hey, they lost E3. How the hell did they do that? So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that all kind of works out. I'm very interested to see if Microsoft brings it. If they don't bring it, you know, that's on them. Going to see how that kind of plays out. I'm very interested to see how that works, and hopefully it works out well for all parties involved. As I start to wrap this up, hey, hit the like button. We can get to 175. I'd appreciate it. Do you think Blue Dragon 2 and Lost Odyssey will return? Not a chance. I don't see Microsoft investing in those games, and I'll tell you why. Because they won't make any money from them. Microsoft only cares about doing things like games as a service, and I don't see how Lost Odyssey or Blue Dragon would be that. And I don't see a big audience for that in their hometown, like in North America. I don't see those games selling enough to warrant being made. So yeah, I don't think so. Let's see. Who else is at E3? Ubisoft, Microsoft. I think Bethesda is going to be there. Blue Dragon was fun, man. Blue Dragon was fun. In the last 6 months, nothing has changed with Microsoft's plans. Well, I think that it depends on what you mean. Like I said earlier, maybe you missed it. If they announce 2 or 3 new consoles, like Lockhart and Anaconda, and also a streaming box this E3, that would mean that they've announced 5 new pieces of hardware in the last 3 years, and they haven't even announced that many new exclusives, right? When was their last new exclusive that they announced? AAA, right? When you have more hardware announced than exclusives, I think that's a bit of a problem. And I know that they bought studios, but should we really have to wait 4 or 5 years before we get to see anything from those, right? That's my problem. Let's see. Our Ranat says Sony will be at E3 next year when they want to show the PS5. Exactly. Not only will they be at E3 next year, but they're also going to announce a whole ton of games that are going to get people excited about the platform, because that's what you do, right? Xbox One X is great. It is the best console I've ever played. It is amazing. Multiplats play best on it. But if Microsoft would have announced games that look amazing, exclusive games for this thing, people would have got even more excited and bought it, right? Instead, it kind of languishes as this great console that very few people own, maybe a couple million people, and that's a problem Microsoft's own doing. That's what's going on. So, Phil doesn't understand that IPs grow and get better with sequels. See Uncharted. See also Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic 1 was okay. He couldn't even speed dash. They brought that into it. Sonic 2, boom, amazing game. Gets Sega ahead of Nintendo for a little bit, but you got to give it a chance sometimes. L. Paul says, Crap Gamer. Tone change based on hardware decisions, not software. They're announcing too much hardware, not enough software. Let's see. Sir X-Man says, crap, what if PS5 backwards compatible for older games is all digital and no disc and they charge you? I think it depends. Giving people an option is to do backwards compatible is fine. I think they should do something similar to what Microsoft does, where if you have the disc, you can put it in and then you download the emulation for it and just play it that way. Next doc says it's Sega all over. Phil's going full Sega. More hardware than games never go full Sega. I get you, dude. If people unaware, which good props to you for being very aware of the industry, like just like me, right? So if a lot of people wonder why Sega failed, it's easy to kind of to go, oh well, because the PS2 or whatever. Not exactly true. There's a lot of reasoning, right? Like obviously it was easy to sort of pirate Dreamcast games, but what happened was Sega screwed over their fans a lot. So fans, what you bought a Sega Genesis and then they sold you a Sega CD and a 32X. They stopped supporting those things very quickly. They come out with the Sega Saturn, stop support on that super quickly. Very hard to develop for, higher price point than the PlayStation 1. And then they come out with the Dreamcast, which was a good console with good games, but and very innovative. But people obviously were already into the PlayStation, and PlayStation 2 comes out and just really, had that Blu-ray player or the DVD player, and it was all she wrote. So you can't keep coming out with all this different hardware. They also had the Game Geared and the Nomad and all this crazy crap that was way too much. That way too much, and people kind of went away from that. You know what I mean? So I think that it really just kind of comes down to what fans want. And you got to pay attention to that. You got to have the content, you got to have the content there to get people on board. And that's what I think Microsoft has to learn. I think that's what they did learn by having, by having bought these different studios and things like that. You have to have content. And I feel like they've learned that lesson. Hopefully they have anyway. Let's see, what else do we got? Sega ran out of money. That's true too. How much research do you do every day, Crap, like for the next gen consoles? I look at probably 15 different sites, including like the mostly the smaller sites, because they're going to run with rumors. I also look at the Reddits and stuff because you'll get document drops. Sometimes most of the time they're not real, but sometimes they are. So it's always fun to kind of get into there and just like go over the different things that people are talking about and stuff like that. So that's why I do that. Like I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. Just doing a little bit of grunt work. I'll be on my phone searching some of the Reddits or some of the lesser known sites because they'll get some of the leaks and things like that. And they've been, sometimes they're hit or miss. I'd say they're 50-50. So it'll be fun to see. I always think it's funny to see how they play out. I also think it's funny when people like to call me out for running with different leaks and things like that. Given the fact that so many other people claim that maybe PlayStation 5 was coming out this year or the Game Pass was 100% for sure going to be on the Switch. You know what I mean? And those things turn out to be false. It's like we all get things wrong. We're human. And, I just think it's fun to talk about these things. We talk about video games. It's like talk shows, right? Like no matter what you watch, man, you talk about what's relevant in gaming and that stuff's relevant. Whether it's true or not, we don't know yet, but that's part of the fun, in my opinion. So I'll always talk about like rumors and stuff like that and my opinion as well. Like I don't mind if I'm wrong about something. Hey, I'll come out and say, hey, I was wrong about it. No, nothing there. Have I played Until Dawn? The developers are making, dude, I love Until Dawn. I reviewed it and I just thought that was so amazing. That was probably my favorite PlayStation 4 game for the longest time. Absolutely incredible game. Absolutely loved it. And I'm very excited by their new games as well. You think there will be sequels to Horizon Zero Dawn and Spider-Man? Mark Kelly, I 100% agree. Telling you this now, we're going to get a sequel announcement to Horizon Zero Dawn next year and Spider-Man next year. That's when I'm 100% certain. Insomniac Games already started a sequel to Spider-Man. Horizon Zero Dawn sequel started before that game even launched. We're definitely getting sequels to those games. Pudgy Potato says the premise of a rumor is it might be wrong. 100% true. 100% true. I mean, rumor is rumor. Some people don't get it, but it's always fun to, similar to sports news, next doc. You hear rumors, oh, this team's going to sign this guy. This team's going to sign that guy. That's really how it goes. Greg E3 says, thanks for the show. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out as I kind of wrap things up because I went over kind of what I wanted to where I was at. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the chat and stuff like that. Now True says, crap, why don't you mention that the PS4 is so weak it couldn't handle Anthem and many PS4s were bricked? I think I mentioned that in a podcast. Like I can't like always do a video to talk about every little thing, especially since I cut back. Like sometimes I'll only do maybe one, most of the time 2 videos a day, but sometimes even 1. So it really depends on what's going on. But I talked about it in podcasts. So I think that's the important thing to kind of keep in mind as well. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys enjoy it, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified of everything. Otherwise, you won't get the notifications and stuff. I'll do this more often. I'll be around for Xbox Nation, MNC this week as well. Also planning on doing Crossfire. So it's just going to be a lot of good times. Thank you guys so much for the support. Rack them up, and you guys have a great day. See ya.